Hi, class. This week you get to see my very best tie. Get it? Berry, two bears. Last year in Yellowstone, as I spent multiple days there, I think we saw 42 bears on my various trips to Yellowstone. It was my best bear watching year ever. Today we get to start on to paragraph number 2 of the Family Proclamation. What a great paragraph. We are beloved spirit sons and spirit daughters of heavenly parents. What an incredible truth. Do you remember where you were in July of 1969? Some of you weren't born yet, but I was. I was actually baptized in 1969, just a few months before this happened, when Neil Armstrong landed on the moon. One small step for man, one giant step for mankind. And all of a sudden, everybody on planet Earth was looking up to the skies, up to the heavens. What a glorious thing that was, to be looking up. I met Neil Armstrong a few years later at the National Boy Scout Jamboree in Farragut State Park, Idaho in 1973. And I just remember thinking, wow, he has walked on the moon. Shortly after Neil Armstrong walked on the moon, my older brother was getting ready to serve his mission to Munich, Germany. And we went out and camped in a tent one night and went out in the middle of the night. My brother set his alarm and woke us up, and we looked up into the sky and saw a comet called Comet Bennett that passed by, and just, again, looking up into the skies. It was a marvelous time to just realize, wow, we can now go to the moon and look at this comet. It was incredible. In 2011, President Uchtdorf gave an incredible talk titled, "You Matter to Him." What an incredible talk. He uses in that talk this idea that one of the great ironies is that God is so grand and so marvelous and with so many creations, how could he possibly be concerned about us? We're so small. Helaman 12 calls it, we're lower than the dust of the earth. And Moses, after he sees God and realizes, oh, wow, look how marvelous God is, Moses says, "Now for this cause I know that man is nothing, which thing I had never supposed." That's Moses 1 verse 10. Moses, who grew up in Egypt, to be a prince in Egypt, to be a god in Egypt, and the pyramids and the temples and these incredible, magnificent structures, sees God and goes, oh, man is nothing. And President Uchtdorf says, that's how some people see it, but it's wrong. The irony is, because we are God's children, to him we are everything. Hence the title of his talk, "You Matter to Him." I can't think of a greater truth to focus on this next week, is we matter to God. We're his sons. We're his daughters. We matter. We're everything to him. I have, as you know, 7 children, 1 son and 6 daughters. And if they were to come to me in a time of crisis or need, I would do everything in my power to bless, to teach, to lift. Sometimes they've gotten themselves into trouble that they need to work their way out, but I'll be there to help, support. I'm a father and I love them. I love them all. And God's the same way. He is a literal, real being who in every literal sense is a parent, our parent, and he loves us and will do everything in his power to help, to bless, to lift. I'd like to conclude with a quote that I'll include in the announcement this week from an incredible talk given by Elder Neil Maxwell called "Our Creator's Cosmos." In this, he quotes the late Carl Sagan, a scientist who communicated effectively about science and the universe. He said, quote, "In some respects, science has far surpassed religion in delivering awe." A-W-E, like awesome, awe. Carl Sagan said, "How is it that hardly any major religion has looked at science and concluded This is better than we thought. The universe is bigger than our prophet said, grander, more subtle, more elegant. God must be even greater than we dreamed. Instead, they say, no, no, no. My God is a little God, and I want him to stay that way. End of quote. Elder Maxwell suggests when we look at the pictures that we can see from the Hubble telescope, when we look at the grandeur of space, when we look at all that we can see, doesn't that mean God is bigger than we thought? I think people sometimes want a little God because they want to push him around a little bit. So, wait. You got to let me into heaven. I know I shouldn't have done that. And you know that I shouldn't have done that, but you got to let me in it. And so sometimes I think if we think there's a little God, we can negotiate with him or push him around a little bit. You can't push around a big God. And science and telescopes and space is showing us that there's a big God. Which means when you pray and you say, Heavenly Father, I need help, you're asking the God of the universe for help. And he can answer. As the angel Gabriel said to Mary in Luke, is anything too hard for the Lord? And the answer to that question is no. I pray that you have felt a closeness to your Heavenly Father. I hope and I pray that you know he is real, that you are a beloved son or daughter of God. That's true. I testify of that.